Well guys, this is the D7f that we looked at earlier. If you guys watched the D8K video, there's the 8K still sitting there. And that's another thing, if you guys are still interested in buying this 8K, it basically all that's really wrong with it needs an undercarriage on it. Needs an undercarriage, basically needs rails and pads and rollers and sprockets. And then those ripper cylinders need to be repacked because it's been sitting for a while. But other than that, it's a runner. If you want proof of that, you can watch the video where I got it fixed and got it running again. But contact me with serious offers. I'll put a link below with my email address, and they want $30,000 for it the way it sits. I mean, if you put rails and pads, and I mean, you're going to have a lot of money into it, but you're still going to have a damn good cat. Anyway, so here's the 7F. Let's just look at this thing here. This cat here pretty much already got a buyer lined out. It's got pretty much a brand new undercarriage on it. So the story with this thing is, kind of took a little bit of prying to get the story on it. Got a D7G winch on it, as you can see there, or it's a K winch. Heister winch, logging winch. Doesn't have the arch, but it's got the good fair lead on it. Pretty much already got this one sold to a good guy. I've met these guys through YouTube. They're brothers, so pretty much a 100% go ahead deal, but we got to figure out what the problem is. So anyway, they had this thing in the woods, and he had just went through all this undercarriage, had it painted, and was really taking care of the cat. And it's like 07, 08, when, well, I think 08, when the housing market crashed. I mean, the timber industry up here crashed too, pretty big. It was like the Great Depression for loggers. And he was scrambling everywhere, just trying to make ends meet and selling off properties and timberlands and just doing anything he could to make a living, to pay his bills, basically. And this thing broke down, and that was it. He said, park it. And so he couldn't really remember the owner, what it was. He just remembered them pouring a lot of oil in it to get it on the low boy. So anyway, I talked to the operator, and he said it was something on the torque converter that was puking oil everywhere. He said it still ran and it shifted good. He says you're gonna have to dump a bunch of oil. I bought 20 gallons with me, and I know I'm gonna catch hell about it, but I bought some cheap, you know, yellow bucket oil this morning at Tractor Supply. And I bought, you know, because it's just gonna, till I get it on the low boy, it's just gonna run out on the ground. I'm not gonna buy a bunch of expensive oil just to let it go run out on the ground. So first thing we got to do is get it running, though. So that's the first project. We got to check our fluids and all that sort of thing. We got an audience. There's a homeless guy over here living in this green Forest Service rig over here. So you can't keep him out of here. You don't ever see this stuff where I'm from, about 40 miles north of here. Sure see it a lot down here. Alrighty. Looks like the bottom part of the shroud on that fan is missing. And they took the blade off, and the customer I'm dealing with, there's supposedly a C-frame laying here somewhere for this cat. We might be looking for that C-frame. We're not worried about the blade because the customer I'm going to sell this to doesn't want a blade on it. It's full of oil. Oil doesn't look too bad either. We need to check our air cleaner. Make sure we don't have a bunch of stuff in the intake that we're going to suck in there when we start it. Let's see if it's got any fuel in it. Let's see, is that going to be a battery box right here? Got a couple batteries for the old girl. That's probably not going to have any fuel in it. Hold on a second here, let me get this camera. Be really surprised with all the derelicts running around here that there's any fuel in it. It's got some in it. I'm trying to read that, it's kind of hard to see it. It might have enough to get it going. What's it smell like? This doesn't smell too good, but that's got about 10%, a little over 10% in it. Alright. Hydraulic. What we're probably going to be doing is adding the oil to the transmission for the torque converter, sounds like. Let's see here. Just trying to eyeball stuff down in here. They got deck plates off of it and stuff that we're going to have to line out and get reattached on this old girl. These are gauges here. All that stuff's intact. That's a pretty good deal. Those are free. How about throttle linkage still moves? Okay, that's a good deal. About our shift linkage here. Is that still all freed up and moving? Well, it's kind of stiff. Winch controls. Okay, the fill tube for the 7 should be underneath the seat somewhere. Transmission. Might have a snake under here, so I don't know, it's kind of getting late for snakes, I think, but yeah, that don't look too good. That don't look too good. It's got a lot of rust in there. About the sight. This one got a sight glass on the side of it. I do not see one. I have no idea how much oil's in it. Alright, I gotta find a fill tube for the transmission here. Alright, here we are. It's low. It's pretty low. Add 3 gallons. Add 3 gallons. Okay. Something crawling around on my head there. So we're going to probably at least dump a 5-gallon bucket in it. I brought 20 gallons with me. We got a 3/4. Let's get 3/4 right. Oh, I don't even need to do that. Hand tight on there. Let's dump a 5-gallon bucket in there. Look at this, guys. Look at him sitting there. Look at that buck. He's not worried a bit about me being here either. There he is right now. I woke him up. Huh. I'll be down. I thought I heard something rustling around in the brush over there. Okay, so 5-gallon bucket. I'll pour that in. I'll be back with you. Oh, what the heck? I must have lost a O-ring or something inside my blower nozzle. Okay, we'll throw them batteries in there. I got one 8D and another one, but it's not an 8D. But it should work for what we're doing here. Oh shoot, I don't have the cat key. Well, I'll just bypass the disconnect. Full 100-pound battery. Okay, I gotta figure out positive, negative. Let's see here. Cable there. What do we got going on here? Should more cables than that, I would think. Should be some jumper cables going from battery to battery. Might have a problem. This is going to be the ground. That's got to be positive. Let's double check. Alright, that's right. Okay. Battery's too big actually for what we're doing. Pretty sure it should be a 24-volt system. I would surely think. Where's the starter at? Where's the starter? Oh, there's a starter right there. Gotta be 24 volt. This old cat, I would think. What's the alternator say on it? I don't think I've ever seen a cat this old that wasn't 24 volt. Negative ground, positive. Is there anything on here that's going to lead me in the right direction? I'm almost certain it's got to be 24 volt. I think it just had two smaller batteries in it. To rob a couple of the jumper cables off the dresser, or the TD 8K. I don't know, I guess we could try it and see what it does, huh? I should have brought my cat key with me, and I completely forgot. So what we'll do is take this one off and put it on here and see what happens. Come off of there. It's gonna do anything. We used to take these, we used to put a 12-volt starter and put it on a 24-volt system, and they'd spin over faster on some of the old D69Us, but going the other way around don't work very well. I poured 10 gallons of oil in it to get it on the full line. Alright. Now we're gonna have to get 24 volts, or, you know, Bill said he charged that up. Let's check the voltage on that battery. Okay guys, a little heads up, people that don't know. Explain to you the difference between parallel and series connections. When you have a battery hooked in series, you're going from, you basically got one ground source, okay, and your positive and your negative are hooked together between the two batteries. So if you had a battery that, say both batteries were 1,000 cold cranking amps, and you had two 12-volt batteries run in series, your cranking amps would stay the same. You'd still have 1,000 cold cranking amps, but if you ran them in series, you'd have 24 volts. The other way is, in parallel, two batteries will be hooked side by side in parallel with two grounds. Each post has a ground. Like if you look on a Dodge pickup or a Ford pickup, a newer vehicle, they'll have a ground cable going each side of the chassis. But the positives will be hooked individually as well, going to the same source though. So if you had a battery with 1,000 cold cranking amps, two batteries with 1,000 cold cranking amps and 12 volts, hooked in parallel, you would have 12 volts and 2,000 cold cranking amps instead of 1,000. It doubles your cold cranking amps instead of your voltage. So that's why you see a lot of this these days. I think it's better to go parallel these days, but these old timers, they like this 24 volt stuff. I've got these hooked in series. Let's see if we got 24 volts. We'll go from this battery here to this one here, and we have 24.99 volts. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, baby. She turns over. Let's bleed the fuel system and see if we can get some fuel to the pump. Alright, let's get over here. Blade cylinders. They got them off. Alright. Okay. There's a bleeder here. They got a fuel line off here for some reason. What do we got going on here? I'm not really sure what we got going on right there. Whoa, I think we're missing something, or is that just the bleeder and it's okay? It must have had an elbow on it or something at one time and was hooked to this line, and then it went, you know, they usually had a drain and went down. Alright. It's getting pretty hard. Let's go a little more on it. What do you say? Sorry for the camera movement. I'm trying to hold on to the camera. Okay. Oh, come on, she's not walking in there. There she goes. Alright, and they got the blade unhooked here, which this customer doesn't want a blade anyway, so we'll end up capping these hoses. I think I'll put the blade cylinders back on it and hook them up. Would be the right thing to do. Let's just see if we can get her to run. Get her to smoke or do something. It's been sitting here since 08, I think. And then when we start it, maybe we can identify our leak. I spilt some oil in it when I poured oil in it right here, so that's my doings there. Alright. Okay. Let's glow plug it. They're working, pulling good amperage, about 20 amps. Oh, air cleaner, we forgot about that. Let's check that real quick. Let's make sure there ain't a rat's nest or something built in there. We're gonna suck a bunch of stuff up into the intake and create a bunch of work for ourselves. No cats in the fan or fan built. That's a good thing. I don't see any issues there. All right, let's put this over here. Okay, are you guys ready? Let's see here. Let's do the old glow plug trick again. Okay. I could have swore I heard something spraying down here. Let me get my flashlight. I'm looking for an obvious leak. Is it just me or do I see oil? I spilled some oil when I poured it in there, but I don't think I did that. I don't think. Maybe I did. See, it's really wet. The input side of the transmission there. Let's look down in here, maybe. see nothing there real obvious. Huh. Let's look underneath it. See if we see anything ripping on the ground. I think that's from me spilling oil, I think. Not positive. I think I'm going to move the blade cylinders and see if I can get it to move ahead out from under this tree. Maybe out in there somewhere. Do I got room to back down in here with the service truck? If I get it out here somewhere, yeah, I think I can back right in here with the service truck and work on it. And if I got to pull the ROPS and transmission, I might just do it right here. And that way, if it does have a bad leak once we get it going, my buddy that has a lowboy, he's got a nice lowboy, and I don't want to get oil all over his nice new lowboy trailer. I'm a field mechanic. I'll just pull the ROPS and pull the transmission and torque converter right out here. Used to do it in the woods all the time. Alright folks, we got her between the cross hatches. Let's do a little walk around, make sure we're not going to run over anything important. If it moves, it may not even move, I don't know. Might be firing that D8K up to make this one move. I ain't worried about that. This is going to be a go-ahead operation. The old tree might partially come down with it too. It's right on top of the ROPS. I think you'll get a better view from out here, guys. I got a smudge on the screen, I can see that. She's out of her hole, guys. I'm having trouble getting it to shift, but I think it's probably got leaves bound up and everything. And the shift linkage. Oh, our deer, he decided to come out. Well, he don't get scared much, does he? I mean, I don't see any oil pouring out here anywhere. Bill was telling me that he thought it might just have been a heating problem of the torque converter, that it got hot real fast. I wonder if it was getting hot and pushing the oil out, is what I'm kind of wondering. Now that we've got it out of that hole, I wonder if we ought to back up in here and get the air compressor fired up and start cleaning her up here and see if we can figure out where the problem is and see what's going on with it. As it's really hard to make heads or tails. We're probably gonna have to drop that belly pan to get all this stuff cleaned up out of here, is what I have a feeling. But let's get the top of it cleaned up and blown off. Figure out why it's not wanting to shift. I feel a detent there now. I couldn't feel it at all before. I can't get the detent second or third. So let's look at that. She's a runner though. Let's see if it still tries to go ahead on me. So we got them freed up. She's just sticky. Been sitting. Now let's get this thing cleaned up, guys, and check the antifreeze in. We'll run her a while. Let's get her cleaned up first, though. Well, hopefully it don't start running out as fast as I pour it in. It's a 50/50 ELC coolant. I don't hear it running out on the ground yet. Well, so on and so forth. Alright guys, I can't get the battery box closed all the way because I got an 8D and a 4D, and I should have two 4Ds. So I gotta watch that. I got this panel here kind of halfway bolted on for the bolts and nuts that I could find. And then I tightened the drain plug in the hydraulic oil reservoir and poured 10 gallons in it. And I guess now what we're going to find out now is if the blade cylinder or the blade valve leaks by, we're going to have oil pouring out there, and we'll have to either cap it or abandon. I don't think I've got my cat flange caps with me, so we might have to go that might be as far as we go. We're fixing to find out. But if it doesn't leak by severely, or it's puking oil out, then we can drive it and go see what's going on with the leak or heating problem maybe they're referring to. All right, let's see what we got here. I just don't see this leak they're talking about. I think it, I wonder what the heck's going on, why they parked it. I wonder if the winch works. I wonder here. I'm not sure what to make of this. Everything seems to be working, and I'm not getting everything. Winch was stuck pretty good when they got it unhung. So what were they? I mean, I see a little wetness here back on the winch case where it mounts to the back. You know, I'm wondering if the steering clutches were leaking on them. You know, the bevel gear bearings will go bad, and they'll let them sag on the shaft there, and then it'll take the steering clutch piston seals out. I mean, it's a little wet back in there. I don't know if that's maybe there is something leaking in this thing. I think we're going to have to be dropping that belly pan is what's going to have to happen. Yeah, we'll be dropping that belly pan. I don't think that's from me. See, it's kind of got a fresh drip on it. Something's leaking down in there. And I think that's why they parked it. See it dripping out of there? And I'm going to, by the time I get home, it's going to be late. I got to fold this operation up here pretty soon, but I've come a long ways. I know that it moves. And there was something saying something with the torque limiter. What am I looking at here? Oh, look at that. Okay, see the wet right there? Is that all that's wrong with that thing? The pinion seal's leaking on it. The pinion seal, or the shaft seal's leaking on the converter. That's all they parked that for? Really? I'm not familiar with these, but I don't know if you guys can see that. But get down in here. Let's get the camera in here. It's just coming out of the output shaft seal of the converter, which would be the turbine shaft, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what they call it in cat terminology, but shit, I can't believe they would give up on a rig after putting $20,000 worth of undercarriage into it over a damn seal in the torque converter leaking. Alright, well, I know where I'm at now. I'm going to come back later, another day, and tear the rest of these floor plates out. Pull that drive line out of it, clean that up, and change that seal, and we'll run it. And see if it keeps leaking. I think that's all that's wrong with it. Unless there's something leaking internally, causing excessive pressure inside the converter housing, making it shove the oil out. Which some converters aren't that hard to work on anyway. Can't believe them guys gave up on that for that. People give up on stuff too damn easy, you know what? Well, guys, I sure appreciate you guys watching this. Guys, smash that thumbs up button, and if you like it, please subscribe. Thank you very much.